would go to the park after I'd look at the magazine and spend hours by myself trying to learn these tricks by looking at the pictures. And eventually I succeeded.
Welcome to It Was All a Dream with me, Nathan. I'm joined with Steve. Steve, if you want to let the people know who you are and what it is you do.
My name's Steve Caballero. I'm 58 years old. I'm a professional skateboarder, musician, and artist. Started skating at age 12. Got sponsored probably around 14 and turned pro at age 15 in 1980 by Peralta. And they've been my only board sponsor since 1980. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. So was it always your dream to be a skateboarder? Because obviously you said you've got, I know you're into dirt bikes too, and you do a lot of dirt bikes and stuff like that. You're an artist, and I know that you love drawing and painting and stuff, as well as a collector. So was it always your dream to be like a skateboarder, or in that realm of like extreme sports?
I think if anything, when I picked up a skateboard, my only dream was to be able to skateboard in the places I was seeing in the magazines that I would buy from the local market. I'd look through the magazines and see people skating these skateboard parks that were being built in Southern California. And they just looked really fun. A dream was to maybe one day visit SoCal and skate these parks, but they ended up actually building them up where I live in NorCal. So that made it a lot easier for me to be accessible to those. But I remember coming down south around 1978 to Disneyland with my family and seeing the skateboard park right across the street. So I asked my father if he could take me and my best friend the next time we came down, and he did. I rode the skate park for the first time. I learned how to carve front side for the first time. I skated a pool for the first time. So after that, I got hooked. Felt really comfortable and just really enjoyed the challenge of it. And how smooth the cement was. I went from just kind of building my own little wood ramps to like skating a pool and a bank and a curved surfaces. So it just was very intriguing to me. So at a very young age, that my dream was to continue skateboarding and get good at it. Learn tricks, progress. But as far as a career, I was like 12 years old. So, at 12 years old, you're not thinking about a career.
Oh, of course.
You're just having fun, so I never even thought that I would ever get sponsored. I never even thought that I ever would turn pro. I just kind of went along with the ride. And still today, I'm still going along for the ride. I don't know where skateboarding is going to take me next. But it's taken me all over the world. It's introduced me to a lot of people. I've made different relationships with different people. I've discovered different avenues to express myself, including art, including music. But the one thing that's connected me to all these different things is skateboarding, for sure, because I feel like skateboarding is something that has touched a lot of people's lives, whether you're a musician, whether you're an artist, whether you're into other sports. There's some kind of like attraction to skateboard. I don't know what it is. It looks intriguing and challenging and exciting at the same time. So, and plus it's super dangerous. I think that's what humans love to be in dangerous situations,
Yeah,
so
100%. So obviously you started skateboarding obviously at a young age, and you got signed early and stuff like that. But what was it that inspired you to begin skateboarding? Although it wasn't obviously a dream because you was young, but it was a passion that turned into a dream. Um, like what inspired you to want to skate?
well, for one, I was terrible at other sports. I couldn't do baseball, football, soccer. I just was really short in stature, and I just felt like I didn't have the build for that. And just not, it just wasn't something that was attractive to me because it was a team effort, and I felt like with team efforts, you could be the best player you can, but if someone else is terrible, the whole team fails. I
Yeah,
feel like with skateboarding, it's something that you could only rely on your own ability, and there's no one else to blame but yourself, as far as like progressing to that next level, and learning new tricks, and seeing how far you can take something, because skateboarding in itself is an art form. Skateboarding means a lot of different things to different people. Like for one, it can be a mode of transportation, so people only skate for that. It's an art form, so people just love being creative on it. It has a competitive aspect to it where people will try to compete against each other, so it makes it a sport, because then that's when you need to practice and you need to like train and be healthy, and your mind has to be really, really clear
yeah,
when it comes to skateboarding, because I feel like skateboarding is pretty much like 90% mental and 10% physical, meaning like you can be totally healthy and totally in shape, but if your mind's not there, everything fails.
yeah.
I think the mind is the one that controls everything about your actions and what the choices you're going to make. So the beauty I love about skateboarding is it really taught me the lessons of failing to succeed. And so I've used that attitude towards everything that I've dipped into to want to progress and be good at. So with music, I know that I had to fail many times to succeed. I know with art, I had to draw terrible pictures before I could design something that I would like and maybe other people were attracted to. So it just gave me a healthy mindset of like nothing comes easy in life and everything takes work. And I believe that I'm not a naturally gifted person. I don't believe in natural talent. I believe that everybody works hard in their own way. We just don't see that progress. We see the results. And for me, as a person who has gone through those steps, I can honestly say that I do not believe in natural talent at all.
Okay,
So
that's interesting. That's interesting. I
yeah, and it's
mean, like,
an argument as well.
yeah, no, that's a good point though. I mean, 100% people just see the end result because that's what we offer. They don't see the amount of times you fall off the skateboard or anything like that. So that is a really interesting way of looking at it, for sure. So obviously you got into skateboarding at such a young age, and you mentioned about um, wanting to skate at certain parks and reading magazines and stuff like that. Who was your idols? Like either personally, like was it your dad or anything like that, or and then in a skateboarding aspect was who was your idols in that aspect?
People I looked up to before skateboarding was definitely Bruce Lee was one, because he was a movie star at the time, and he was a very famous 70s icon as far as martial arts and how far he took it and how he made it look. Um, and another person who was very iconic back in the early 70s was Evil Knievel, with
Okay,
motorcycles. And, you know, it, it just someone who took something to the next level and made it exciting to watch, but knew that it was dangerous at the same time. So it really taught me a lot about courage and perseverance, and just stepping outside the box and putting yourself in a vulnerable area where you're either going to fail at it or you're going to succeed, but there's excitement around it. So Bruce Lee and Evel Knievel were definitely icons and inspirations for me to look up to someone, who took an art form or took whatever activity and try to be the best they could at it. While I got into skateboarding, obviously Tony Alva, Jay Adams, Stacy Peralta were guys that I'd see in the magazines, and then guys like Brad Bowman with style. But there was one gentleman that really stood out to me, and his name was Eddie Elguera. And he was at the top of his game at the late 70s or 79, early 80s. And I knew that he was the best skateboarder at that time because he was winning all the competitions. And that's what kind of puts you in a pecking order of who was the best. Was not that you could see photos of them in the magazines, but who were entering these contests and winning, and he was winning. So I saw what he was doing and I want to emulate what he was doing. So every time I would see a trick he would do, I'd look at the sequence in the magazine because there wasn't much film back then. There was no such thing as video, no such thing as cell phones, no such way of capturing skateboarding, but only through photography and sequences. So I would study the sequences and I would go to the park after I'd look at the magazine and spend hours by myself trying to learn these tricks by looking at the pictures. And eventually I succeeded. And the more tricks I learned, the better I got. And the better I got, the more competitions I would win. And when I'd win a competition, I would get a prize and I would get some praise. And that was very attractive and addictive to me. And that's why I kept continuing to progress and get better, because I felt like there was always a reward for how much effort I put into something. And I didn't want that to go away. So I worked diligently every day, whether it was raining, not raining, people at the park, me by myself. I would put the work in that nobody saw.
Yeah.
And until a competition. And then we're like, whoa, look at this kid. He's like good at skateboarding. But they didn't know the process that I put in. They didn't know my mental state, what I thought about every day. And people don't know that unless they're inside your own body. So I know how hard I work for everything that I do. So, and that's what got me to where I am at today. And that's where I've been able to maintain and continue this, dream of being a skateboarder, and, kind of like not growing up in a way where you have to quit this hobby or this thing that you love to get a normal 9-to-5 job where there's no risk or health risks involved, where it's a little bit safer,
Yeah.
So, people like say like, oh, how does it feel like not to ever have a real job? Well, if you're trying to say that a real job is a place that you don't want to be, then I don't ever want to have a real job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I feel like I've had a real job my whole life, and I've gotten good at maintaining being employed. That's why I've been able to sustain myself over all the years, because I've made really good choices. And even though I was at the top, I still worked hard to stay there. And if I wasn't at the top of this, I would try a different avenue to be noticed or have something to offer to skateboarding. And so, like I said, just trying to find my way all the time, even though maybe it wasn't working out this way, I try to find my way this way. And so that's why I've been able to maintain such a long career in skateboarding and built a good brand, a name brand from it, just making good choices, and I think the more great choices you make, the more benefits you get. The bad choices that you make, you miss out on a lot of stuff. And I know a lot of great, talented people who have made bad choices in life, and they lost their opportunity, and that's something that was ingrained in me in a very long time. I never wanted to lose my opportunity,
Yeah.
So
just touching on, obviously you mentioned about Bruce Lee. I want to say you was born in the year of the dragon, right? Which then
of
you
course.
obviously took and inspired the dragon into your whole branding and your
Mhm.
art, which then obviously Bruce Lee had Enter the Dragon. Was there ever like that inspiration there in that sense? Was he an idol in that like artistic sense as well?
I think so. I mean, yeah, he was always known as the Dragon, Little Dragon, and his movie was called Enter the Dragon, Return of the Dragon. But the reason why I incorporated the dragon into an iconic figure of myself is because in the Chinese zodiac or calendar, the year that I was born is Year of the Dragon. So I felt like that was kind of a slight connection to me. Not, I feel like it's a made up thing,
Yeah,
but whatever it is, it represented the year that I was born. So I just gravitated to that.
just
I'm like,
what?
yeah, I'm not even Chinese, so it's like, but I was born in that year of the dragon, so I'm like, that's cool. So that's why. I mean, that's the only reason why.
Okay,
I think I would have chose a dragon if I wasn't born year of the dragon. Yeah,
okay,
and
that's cool.
and then also Bruce Lee and um, but a very interesting thing is because a dragon is kind of like a mystical creature, and there's three types of dragons that I've discovered. There's a medieval dragon, which has wings and blows fire. There's the Chinese dragon that kind of has, you know, a sort of look with scales, kind of like a serpent. And then there's a Japanese one that almost kind of similar,
Hmm.
And the funny thing is, which is really cool, is I wasn't until I was age 35 when my dad passed away, I found that I was secretly a quarter Japanese.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so which is really interesting. So that made it tie in even better. It's like, oh my goodness, like I have a Asian background, which represent the dragon a lot. So I'm like, oh, makes sense. It's pretty cool that happened. So um, for all the viewers out there that don't know this, my real last name is a Japanese last name, and it's Nakahara.
Okay.
Yeah,
So where did Caballero come from? Is that?
Caballero came from my father's mother's maiden name.
Oh, okay.
So her name was Clotilde Caballero, and my grandfather was Samuel Nakahara. And they married, had my dad. I think they split up after he was born. He never really knew his dad. And so because he grew up with his mother's family, which was his mother's parents, his uncles became his brothers, and so they adopted him into the Caballero family. So I have no idea what my heritage Japan is, Nakahara. I had never met that side of the family. And I would love to someday. I think it would be pretty cool to see relatives from my grandfather's side that I never met or knew about. Um, so, like a lot of Japanese people, when I go to Japan, they've looked up to me through skateboarding. They've known me as Caballero, but when they find out that my real birth last name is Nakahara, well, not me, but my father's,
Yeah.
uh, they find it pretty interesting, and they're like, "I knew you were Asian." Some sort of. I'm like, I didn't know. My parents kept it a secret. My bad.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can reach out to them one day and find them and connect up. That would be lovely. Um, so just on obviously the aspect of dreams and of like skateboarding getting signed. How did you achieve where you are now? You know, you've had a lot of great successes over the way, the signing with Vans. Um, you know, you was in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like number 2, I believe, and all the way up from that. You know,
Mhm.
even in the music career, you've done a lot of things. You broke records. You 44 stairs, I believe you done the grind. You know, you broke the world record for the vert for 11 feet in the air. I believe that was as well.
In 1987, I held the world record for the highest aerial done on a vert ramp
Yeah.
in 1987. Yeah, it was 11 feet.
So how do you like how did you achieve all that? Would you say it was like mindset, just constantly like never giving up and building like a name for yourself just in that circuit? So you was always skating, entering these competitions, stuff like that.
I think it was just the aspect of competition and always trying to better yourself. Because I feel like if there's no one to be competitive against, there's no one to push you to the limits of what you can discover you have, you know. So if there's no one kind of like on your heels trying to take away what you have, there's no inspiration or push to get you to that next level. You know, I feel like with any kind of competition, if you're going to enter a competition, you probably want to try to win. And the way to win is to outdo your opponent. And that's figuring out how to do that. So um, it's really kind of a game of learning from your mistakes and try to not make those same mistakes so you can progress to that next level, higher level. Because if you keep making the same mistakes, you're never going to succeed. So it's a lot of life is, I feel in general, is all about making mistakes.
Yeah.
Life, you know, it's a huge lesson. You know, it's a learning experience. You know, and when you keep failing the same way, I feel like you're not growing and you're not living and you're not learning, which makes life kind of boring in a way, you know, because, you know, especially people that don't want to lose, they don't want to feel that agony of defeat. Um, that's a person that doesn't want to see what they're capable of, you know, or has a lot of fear um, of disappointment, humiliation. Um, you know, I feel like there's a reward for being vulnerable to you know, go through all those emotions, and I feel like suffering is part of life, and a lot of people don't like to suffer, so they don't get much out of life. You know, they want to go through life without suffering,
Yeah.
and then that's all they get. You know, for me, I've learned that suffering is just part of living, and I'm willing to go through that suffering to get to that next place or live that next dream. You know, if
100%.
anyone wants to dream about something, you better believe that it's not going to be an easy journey, and it's going to be hard work, and there's going to be a lot of disappointments. There's going to be a lot of fear. There's going to be a lot of agony and defeat. And if you're willing to man through that and learn patience, which is long suffering, is another term of the word patience, because people who don't like to suffer are not very patient at all.
Yeah.
So um, it's it's how we live, man. You know, and so I've chosen not to take the safe way out. You know, and
Yeah.
because of that, I've been able to experience life to its fullest and be where I'm at right now. You know, and when I keep continuing to do that, um, good things come my way. And with people surrounded around me, they get to enjoy those things too. Like So like before I did this podcast with you, I went and skated, by myself with one other person. Was it fun? Not really, you know, but was I willing to put the work in? Yeah, because there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that the more work I put in, I'm going to benefit from that. But it's not always pleasant. I would rather just want to sit on my couch and watch TV before I got to you.
Yeah.
But I was tired. I knew that I was gonna have to stretch. I knew it's very cold inside Hawks ramp, and I just wanted to put the work in because my mindset's not completely there. And the longer that I stay away from my goal, the harder it is to get there.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like that is a pretty strong statement. The farther you stay away from your goal, the harder it is to get there. So you need to find things that are going to help you achieve your goals and dreams, and focus on those. There's a lot of things in this world that take that focus away. And if you're smart and you're wise enough, you can see those red flags really quick. And unfortunately, drugs and alcohol have taken those dreams away from people. I mean, even relationships have taken those dreams away from people. So sometimes a relationship's not a very healthy thing to be in if your goal is to follow a dream and achieve it. It takes a lot of work to be in a relationship, whether you're a man or a woman, and that takes away from your dream. So you have to choose, do I want to chase this dream, or do I want to be in an argument with my significant other? Do I want to waste my time arguing about petty things with the person that you supposedly love and care about and want to spend time with, or do you want to just stop having a relationship and focus on the dream so you can achieve it? It's a give and take. Some people just want to have a relationship and don't want to follow their dreams, and that's fine.
Yeah,
it's a personal choice. But you're going to regret everything that you did not put effort into.
100%.
Yeah.
And just obviously where we just touched on, like, you've had a lot of career highlights, from the sign-ins to like brand boards and getting your first original signature deck. You managed to get some of your artwork on the bottom of your designs and and stuff like that, as well as the shoe deals, and you landed Skater of the Century as well. And I believe you invented a skate move as well, right? You invented a trick, right? So out of all that, what has been your proudest moment in your career? It could either be like winning a contest, or the day your son was born, or watching your son skate for the very first. Like, what has been your proudest moment?
That's very difficult to answer. I've had way too many proud moments to just kind of narrow it to one. I think my proudest moment was being inducted into the Hall of Fame of skateboarding. Only because I was recognized for my contribution to this sport that is still something that I'm involved with. And so it's very honorable to have people, respect you in that way. You feel like you've added something to this world that has meaning, that's brought a lot of joy to people, that's influenced generations, that's inspired people to want to do the same things that I do. So I would probably say, being inducted in the Skateboard Hall of Fame is a pretty high achievement. Being called Skater of the Century, that was only a term that Thrasher made up because they just felt like it. I don't think it's an actual thing, but I'll take it. But yeah, I've yet to probably discover my proudest moment because I'm still alive. So when I'm, I don't know. I don't know. It all varies. I've had so many proud moments. I mean, I'm working on a book right now with a gentleman um, who's writing it for me. I'm working on a documentary about my life as well. So there'll be a lot of
Amazing.
things highlighted in there that people will see what I've achieved. And what I told these people that want to document my life in a book and a documentary is I don't want it so much to be a story about me and who I am and what I've achieved, because you can just Google that.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
I want it to be more of my mindset and how I think and how other people can achieve the same dreams and goals that I have with the same type of mentality, because like you said, a lot of people don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
They don't know how to get there. Um, and a lot of people want to know, and that's great. But, you know, if they really know how to get there, they might not want to put the effort into it.
Definitely.
So, everyone's different, everyone has achieved things in their own way and have put their own time into things. But like with me, I just every day I'm able to wake up. I just keep trying to think of new ways to progress at anything that I'm into, and to stand out. And the only way to stand out is to push yourself to
Yeah.
that next level. And it's a lot of overcoming a lot of fears. So if anyone wants to follow their dreams, they better be ready to overcome their fears. And if they're not going to be able to do that or want to put the work into it, then you could just say goodbye to your dreams and goals.
So would you say that would be your one bit of advice you would offer to anybody wanting to follow that?
Pretty much, because nothing in life comes easy, and if it does comes easy, you're not going to appreciate it, you know.
No, perfect.
So
No, that's perfect, man. Well, I appreciate it. That's everything that I have. So I really appreciate your time. So thank you very much for that.
you're welcome, man, and thank you for letting me share. And like I'm like currently, I'm in a band playing music. I've been in bands my whole life since 1982. I've been in 4 different bands. This is my 5th band. And I feel like finally, after 40 years, I'm in a place where the band that I'm in is taking off to where I would want it to see it go. You know,
Amazing.
so you can just understand that it took me 40 years to get here.
Yeah.
Some people it hasn't taken that long, but I've never given up on that dream.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of It Was All a Dream. We appreciate your time and support. We hope that you enjoyed the episode and you feel inspired to achieve your dreams. Be sure to give us a follow on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, where you can contact us and stay connected with us if you have any feedback on the episodes or guest recommendations. Be sure to stick around after this to see what's upcoming in the next episode. Thank you.
What's happening, everybody? My name's Tate Fletcher. Right now in culture, what I'm known most for is my portrayal of Paz Vizsla in the Mandalorian season 3, which is just finishing up, I think, on Wednesday coming up, and should be a great finale. I'm a mixed martial artist, or I was a podcaster, actor, gym owner, a coffee company owner. Me and a couple of friends own Caveman Coffee that we've had running with cold brew nitros and beans for the last 10 years. And yeah, just always moving, man.